It is time once again where I tell each and every one of you to get off my lawn. It is time for the Dave 101.
It's time for Dave 101.
Open the door, it's Dave! Dave, D-A-V-E!
Dave's not here. Dave's the killer. Yeah, Dave's the killer. Dave's a mess.
Earlier in tonight's show, we were talking about the ENIGMA Labs and the fact that there seems to be a lot of secrecy going around this new UFO group, business, whatever you want to call them. And the fact that they're not giving out who works for them, who is setting it up, who owns this private company, what they're all about, what their mission is. It all seems very suspicious. And in the UFO world, the one thing that I have learned over the last few years, if it's suspicious, there's probably some nefariousness involved as well. See, Enigma, I can use big words too. The fact that they want to set up a sightings report system, which will probably lead to a really good set of analytics, maybe even apps that you can download on your phone for real-time sightings, is exciting. But what I don't like about it is secrecy. We in the UFO world are tired of secrecy. We're tired of the UFO world preaching to us what we can and cannot see. Whether it's the U.S. government, whether it's the military, or now ENIGMA Labs. They are asking for your information. They are asking for your sightings. They are asking for everything about what happened to you, whether it's seeing dots in the sky or having alien intervention. Yet, they don't want to tell you who they are. Why not? What is the big secret? Don't sit here and tell me you're afraid of UFO Twitter or a few trolls that are on Twitter that may harass you with some tough questions. Because all you're doing right now is digging that hole that you don't want to be a part of. That hole is by not giving information. You see, information comes with trust. If I don't trust you, I'm not giving you anything. I'm not giving you my name. I'm not giving you my address, my email, my phone number, my date of birth, or the names of my children, or what color sink I have in my bathroom. I'm not doing that. And this reminds me a lot of the TTSA. When the To the Stars Academy came out in 2017 and Tom DeLonge stood at a press conference in Seattle where there was no press for that press conference, I started seeing red flags right off the bat. After that press conference, when there was no media questioning, I knew there was no press there. That was red flag number one. How do you call a press conference without any press or follow-up questions? You can't. Then I remember going to the TTSA website, the original website, which did not include the words UFO, UAP, flying saucers, or whatever you want to call them. You could not find them or aliens or extraterrestrial on the website. Yet here they were saying that they were a disclosure group, but their website had nothing to do with disclosure or UFOs. When I look at the Enigma website, I get red flags all over the place. In reading what we read during this show, there's a lot of words, there's a lot of conjecture, but there's not a lot of substance. Using big words to enhance your grammar doesn't mean that it looks smart. In fact, what we read is pretty silly, and I encourage all of you to go to the enigmalabs.io and read it for yourself. If you're wondering, what's Dave talking about? Or just go back in our archives on this show and we show it all to you right there. I'm telling my audience right now, and I hope you heed my words. If you have a UFO experience, if you have an encounter, if you have an experience with extraterrestrials, I would not personally feel comfortable in putting my information forward to Enigma. There are too many questions and not enough answers. And look, their tweet earlier in the day says it all, where they say they are not part of any government or affiliated with anybody, yet they are working with Arrow and NASA in the same tweet. Look, you may not be affiliated business-wise, but as long as you are working with government agencies, you are affiliated. One way or another, you have taken that step and have become affiliated with them. It may not say so on paper to make it official, but when you're tweeting it out, it pretty much makes sense. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist or any sort of genius to know that you're in cahoots with the government. How does a group that is this fresh, this new, all of a sudden out of nowhere get invited to speak at a private UFO conference with NASA? How does that work? Does that not bring red flags to all of you? We are missing something huge in ufology. MUFON won't do it because they want to play with the government. Enigma is all about the dots and all about the government. Where's the watchdog groups that are looking out for people like you and me? Where are they? Who can we trust? Because right now, I can say there are maybe a handful of groups that are trustworthy. But how many of those groups would sell the farm to be a part of Enigma or to be able to give the government any sort of traction towards your personal information? And that's what it comes down to. Look, we know, and there will be people out there who will say, the government already has my stuff. They know when I'm born. They have a copy of my birth certificate. They've got my social insurance number. They know my address. They know how much I pay in taxes. They know where I work. Everything is online. They already know. So what is the difference? Well, the difference is they don't know you may be a UFO experiencer. And they may use that for what? I'm pretty sure it's more than just calculations. Do you really want to give your government any further control of your life? If you're abducted by aliens, if you're one of the people who out there is and have had that experience, do you really need the government who is covering up this subject to know that this is happening to you? Think about that. They're not going to give you the answer why, but now they know. Trust is a very tough thing to build in this field. I should know. We've been doing this show for 8 years. And building trust with an audience is hard. And I don't even ask my audience for personal information. Like, where do you live? How many children do you have? Who's your eyewitnesses with you? What kind of vehicle do you drive? And there are tons more questions that I don't ask because it's none of my business. And it really should be none of Enigma's as well. But yet here they are asking for your dedication and your donations, even though a billionaire named Peter THAL is allegedly funding this project. They still want your money and they're not giving you any answers. One thing about the UFO community that many people in my conversations recently have told me is, what is up with ENIGMA Labs? Are they going to be good for the UFO community? I had one person message me today and state, dude, this Enigma is creepy AF. you can figure out the acronym on your own. We don't know what is happening in the UFO world right now because everything is becoming very secretive, especially in DC. And that is bothersome. And this is why I may sound like a broken record. But ladies and gentlemen and friends of this show, there is no such thing as disclosure. We are fighting for confirmation of the phenomena. Well, how does this tie into Enigma? It ties in because already they are keeping secrets, and they are already putting blame on places like UFO Twitter, people of research like John Greenwald from the Black Vault, or Stephen Greenstreet from the New York Post. Love him or hate him, they're already saying we don't want these guys harassing us, so we're not going to put out any names. What are you afraid of, Enigma? You're afraid of a few bad words on Twitter? You shouldn't be. You've got the bucks behind you not to worry about it. No, when a group comes in like that and says, we have all the answers, but we're not going to tell you anything, that should be a red flag for you. And for you to tell your experience or friends, do not go to Enigma. Do not give them any information or anything that is personal. No, this is where you have to stand up for yourself and relate to yourself that your information is a lot more important than their statistics. And when they can't even put a picture of one person on their website to date that works for this company, why the big secret? What is the secret all about? Look, you don't have to agree with me or my stance on UFOs or disclosure or confirmation or whatever it may be. But if Enigma is going to be taking personal information, we as a public have a right to know, where is that information going? Is it going to the government's highest bidder? Is it going to the Pentagon? Is it going to university study? Where's it going? There are a plethora of reporting agencies, within the U.S. government and universities and scientific research buildings that would love to get their hands on information like that. And most of the time, without even knowing or asking questions, we as the human sheep graciously provide it to them. This is a subject that continues to be swept under the rug for secrecy hidden under a national security threat that we don't even know is a threat in the United States. Remember, threat narratives bring a lot of zeros on a budget. Now, I'm not saying Enigma is tied to the government, but if Peter Thiel, the 4.2 billionaire, is the one funding this, it has ties to Facebook, it has ties to PayPal, and many other social media aspects. How is that going to be for your information? Now, a lot of people will say, Dave, don't be paranoid. They're saying in their statements that they aren't doing anything. They're going to keep your information private, just as like they're going to keep their information private. Yeah, we saw MUFON do the same thing with Robert Bigelow and tried to do the same thing just a few short years ago with the To the Stars Academy. How did that go over? Didn't go over very well with the public. So the point that I'm saying here, people, is this. ENIGMA Labs in the UFO world is one of those companies that I'm going to recommend to you. Do not give them your information. In fact, sit back and see where they go with this. Because if you're like me, you're not going to have a very comfortable seat watching what they do or where they take your information. Your information is yours and yours alone. Keep it private, especially with a company that won't tell you what they're all about. And that is your Dave 101. Let me know what you think down below if you're on our YouTube channel. I'm always interested in your opinions, and I do read them. So please do me that favor. And if you like this blog, share it on your social media. We appreciate that.